Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on today. So this is our May feedback call for LifeVantage Academy. And on the line, we have our Executive Master Pro 10, Blue Elam. Blue, are you there? You are muted. Hang on. Let me unmute you. You there, Blue?
Yep, there we go. I was trying to find the right screen. I had something pop up. So
perfect.
Thank you, Mikey. Thank all of you for taking the time to jump on here this morning. This is I like this call. I think it's a good way to touch base, and never wanting to make them too long and take up your day, because it is just kind of a review. But in order for LVAs to get better and more efficient, and even for us to adopt the whole thing, we want to all have a voice. And I just want this platform to be a way to come online, share. I think that's the biggest thing I want to take out of here is what can we do, and those kind of things. And then any announcements that are coming up, anything that's new, this will be the platform to kind of keep up on all of that. Let me get rid of that. So a couple just announcements. I want to start. I don't know. I didn't see all the faces on here. I can scroll through real quick, but Bob and Muffy, Greg, we appreciate their long help as a host up in North Platte, and Cinda Baker will be taking that over. And I know you're on here, Cinda, so thank you for your help and support. I will personally say I do a lot of work that you guys do behind scenes. We did it for years prior to this program. We did it year, and now watching other leaders step up and take those responsibilities. One way it's relieving, and the other way it's exciting, because that's where I learned a lot. That's where I learned a lot of even organizational skills, and got mentored a lot through the process. Platform to be able to hopefully get some time on calls like this to talk to some of the top leaders. And during your host time, you get to spend a lot more one-on-one time with the host in some cases, planning for them and making sure everything's good as part of that. But hopefully the mentorship helps. I love to see when people go from a host through the ranks and leave as a presenter, right? That's kind of the fun side, is when we're developing leadership out of this program, as well as having your area organized and your teams and everyone effectively being taught and trained. So thank you, Bob and Muffy, if you are on or get this recording. We just want to all tell you thanks. We understand the hard work behind the scenes, and we understand, and that change of guard will happen. They'll move on. We'll have others step up, take their place, and do the same. So I'm just thanking them because they're someone's taking their place, but obviously that's for everyone. One other announcement that I was excited about is I got to go personally out to Bill, and I know there was a little bit of concern or question with that regarding that, because there was we opened Atlanta for the first time, right? And so some of the worrying on these calls, which I think was dealt with very professionally, it was brought up respectfully. We all dealt with it. We pushed hard to enroll those people in Atlanta. I think there was a couple people that obviously were traveling. They were traveling to Nashville, so we forwarded their registration over to Atlanta. But our predictions were really close. There was less that were traveling that far. A lot of them were online and different things in the program. Traveled where they needed to for those that wanted the face-to-face. And we had 72 registrations in Tennessee, and we were having 75, 80. And so we maintained there, and we added 78 new people out in Atlanta into the program. So I just think that's what it's all about, and online numbers are down a little bit, but that's, online to me is a stepping stone to get an area and a location. So I think that's powerful. I think that was a really good testament to what we're doing as far as growth. And if you have areas like that, formula, we're less about a hard number for 3 times in a row, and those kind of who's the leaders and what a leader's doing, and looking at the areas. And then we do collect new registration, and so we can get a pretty good idea of how many are traveling, registered hours to get to a live LVA. And when they do, we kind of get an idea of who's going to be taken out of the numbers of another market. And for us, it's not really the numbers totally. It's we want them to be able to get to the closest venue, make it convenient, bring their teams. And if we can have them travel 30 minutes instead of 8 hours, we want to do that. We just need the numbers to maintain in both areas, so it's worth sending presenters and hotels and renting rooms and those kind of things. So we will be contacting a few of you. We have looked through some of the lists. There's a few, the prices a little high or getting up there. I know there are some circumstances that in certain areas, but as a whole, we're going to just be smart and keep that low. So as a host, just that's something I'll just ask. Really watch if there's a new hotel pops up or you're driving by, pop the price and just help us keep the program honest, so to speak. Right? Sometimes when you work with one hotel forever, some people think that's good, and some say, hey, they've been here forever, they're going to stay here, and the price starts to go. We negotiated a price, and then a year later we realize it's $400 higher because they've slowly added things or different things. So Mikey's kind of helping us on that end, but you as host, I just kind of asking as a front line to watch that and help us with that. So one more announcement, and it's more of it's an attaboy and announcement at the same time. Our online system is working great. We have been working at streamlining some of the video stuff in the background. There's a lot we do events to prepare, the videos. We get them ready to post, found some ways to streamline some of that and even cheapen the cost on that a little bit. And so we're, and hopefully the quality is there as well. We're reviewing that this week. So just an announcement for you guys. If there is an issue, only downfall sometimes with social media is sometimes, and I've seen this happen where someone will poke out a concern, everyone kind of jumps on it. Sometimes it's nice because they get a quick response and it's fixed, but sometimes it creates concern in others. And in reality, I've seen people have a concern with a link issue, and then finally, by the time we fix it, they found out it was sent. It was, it's in a different folder or something simple, where a customer service type question gets answered very simply, but now there's others concerned or bigger groups saying, "Hey, what's going on? It sounds like it's not working," and it's just an individual deal. It's almost like if we had, every return that took place or every product that didn't get to the doorstep, and have us all deal with that as a group versus a one-on-one basis. So I'm just throwing that presenters be able to handle and coach and guide people through some of the basics, especially when it comes to the new process in watching, registering, and then watching the posted LVA and the recorded LVA that's sent out as our online option. So just watch that. And I think Mikey's been doing a great job. I think we will be able to streamline a few things. I think it'll be a little more timely getting links out. And I think there's some benefits. So continue to put that when you're doing as presenters on the call, when you're presenting, push the online. We're not afraid of it. I think there's some groups that don't want to mention it because they'll have people not come and not travel. And I hope that's true. I hope they will travel. I hope that's not true, that they'll stop coming. But I do hope that they'll be able to utilize it when needed, but still recognize the value of having the face-to-face. Let's always teach it that way. And I think it'll be helpful to certain groups. We had a lady had a baby. She couldn't travel the 4 hours she normally traveled. She used the online for 3 months, and then she started coming back to the meeting when her baby was big enough to travel, and she felt comfortable doing that. So I love that kind of stuff. So she didn't miss. She didn't have to sacrifice not attending. We have groups in Alaska and out of way places that it's not even really an option unless you're getting on an airplane to get to an event. that are now watching it consistent for Spanish speaking and some other things. Especially when it comes to the video, we might be able to dub in or record or add some of those features. So just know we're available. We're looking. Send your thoughts and ideas to Mikey. We do talk about them. We gather them, and we're looking at it. Those are the main things that I have. Is just kind of in the way of announcements and thank yous. But spouting out a bunch of just updates, but what, as opposed to just it was awesome, right? Which typically that's the response we get. We like that as well, but it are some best practices and let's again start with Friday night. And what can you guys share on Friday night that's working, and maybe that was unique this time that we can share and take out of this as a group? So unmute if you can. We'd love your input, and we'd love first.
Hey, Blue, this is Bert. How you doing?
Bert, go for it, buddy.
Hey, we had a great time in Austin. We did something a little different this time. We did the leadership meeting early and then went on into an opportunity meeting. That was the first time they had done that. And we had discussed it because after the opportunity meeting part of it, we did, because that meeting after the meeting is so important. So we had an hour and a half beforehand. Now, we didn't have quite all the leaders, but the numbers were down in general for that graduation weekend. A lot of people travel around here and that sort of thing. But we had a great opportunity meeting. I think they really got a lot out of it. And so that flow was real good, doing the leadership meeting first on into the opportunity meeting, and then getting to spend time with the guests that were there. So it was a great event. We had a couple of guests, and they both signed up, so that was wonderful. So
awesome. Well, I appreciate that feedback, because again, this is another one of those options that works in certain areas, because if the leadership team can get there a little earlier, obviously it's easier to kind of control the handful or 10, 15 leadership people, as opposed to all the guests and they come a little bit later if they get off work. But so I would love to hear, Bert, in the future, as we're off graduation weekends, if those numbers are good and if we're getting enough leadership to maybe standardize that a little bit more. I don't mean that as a across the board, just as a best practice, and if that's for you guys. But no, appreciate the feedback. Friday, we're always looking for ways to make Friday better. I mean, we've seen just a big opportunity meeting work. We've also, we've seen those things where leadership, around a corporate office was one of my, sit around the corporate office table and have the best leadership meetings. They'd bring food in, and we got the one I've seen.
Excellent.
But having something like that and then allowing guests to come in is perfect. That way we can do both. And I think we have enough reason to do both. And if you can make it happen, that's awesome. So any other best practices, Bert? Thanks for sharing. Again, this is along the lines for Friday night.
I'd like to just echo what Bert said. Russell and Tracy Blanche did that up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and it was completely seamless, and it was able to easily train from leadership right to the opportunity. It went off without a hitch. It was great.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably going to be a real good recommendation for groups, and as opposed to the running them out mentality, which I will say this, it's hard, but I've seen some really cool responses, right? You get a few that are like, oh, I don't want to leave, but there's a few that are thinking, man, how do I get to stay? Right? That's really the question. I mean, I'll just hit rank, right? And so I will say that I've seen the other system actually work really well, but it takes this personality and character to be able to run people out with a smile and be nice and with an urgency to make that meeting effective. And somehow it's what it is. But awesome. That's another it's a good feedback. I will say this, what may help, and just to make sure that's posted. Make a lot of people that are asking location. We had about probably 2 or 3 different locations, 2 that I know for sure, that had a missed the Friday night just based on communication. And however you're doing that, if you have a kind of a city team type group or email, just a text blast or a WhatsApp group or something, but make sure that you're getting that to everyone, especially if the location moves around. That's kind of where we have the issue, is where we have a location that's at one house one week, a hotel room the next, another house, and people are always kind of wondering. And I felt we missed a couple that we probably should have got just based on the lack of communication. So that's one piece of advice. If we have at least a consistent, they know they can go to Big Blue Calendar and get that. That's great. Just make sure, if you would, post the rank. This is a dinner for Pro 3s and above, invitation to, and just make sure it's very, very clear, so we don't have to deal with a mix up there as well. But make sure that gets posted. It's just going to be another piece of advice that didn't happen in a couple areas that we can fix. So,
hey, Blue. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Mike.
Chance that we can do a WhatsApp group for this whole group here. The reason is just so that we can maybe relate some more stuff, during that time going on, because I just know with our building depth group that it really encourages Lisa, because those type of things. And I see a lot of people shaking their head because it really made me take there more. And I'll just say this, Patty and Olivia did a phenomenal job in Denver. We had to bring in more chairs, like even on Friday night, the Ashcrofts had it at their house, up and down the stairs, and we really, guys, it was. I'll just say this: they get more and more important every single time we go. I had some of the most intimate conversations. I had a guy that I've looked up to all my life in LifeVantage, Dr. Lee Seward, pulled me aside, and we're weeping in the living room, just having a conversation about him. I want to know how he can better my life, and he's asking me how I can better his life. So a guy who created a heartworm pill for dogs all across the world is asking me for advice. And so I just think the intimacy of having that Friday night dinner was absolutely epic for me and for everybody that was there. So I think it's great. I wouldn't know how to change it around. I know that's the way they do it, but it just sounds like, the way they're doing these meetings. I would love to do a meeting afterwards, but I don't know if effective that meeting had. So maybe if we could have a WhatsApp group, that would probably bring a lot of peace to what we're doing.
Well, thank you. And I do, obviously that's more and more accepted. I think there are more and more people using that, and it's easy. It's big groups. Little text blasts sometimes work. Well, I don't know if we get everyone on that group sometimes with the number limit, those phones of 10 and things like that. So, Mikey, if you want to take that as a takeaway, let's look at that. And host and presenters would love to have everyone on one group and share ideas and questions if there's something that comes up. There's a group that's a little more, we're all committed, we're close. If there is a concern, that's not a bad place to put it where we can solve it. But I will say that when we have an announcement, what we try to do the week before each event is to send out any last minute updates. Don't forget this. This is something, this last time we got the curveball with a little bit with the corporate video that got sent to us, kind of sent around us to the program saying, let's show this. And last minute stuff, we can deal with it. The problem is we don't talk about it. We don't plan it very well. And some presenters did. And in our case, we pushed hard. It was people are going to the Facebook page to get it, to increase those numbers. The background of that. The problem is when we didn't have service in some areas, or we're not in these areas, and we had a couple that the link was just so slow it didn't keep up, and a little bit, but with a little bit better planning. And this isn't on your guys' end. I'll be straight up with you. This is more on me, Mikey, Justin, and just and Marcel, that information as soon as possible in the best way, and get the proper information to our presenters if it's their job, host if it's theirs. And so a WhatsApp in a situation like that to communicate. So as of now, we do have last minute and some text messaging, but I appreciate that feedback, and we'll work on that. I think platform. So
hey, Boo, I did want to say one thing. My wife was in Atlanta, and guys, I just want to encourage you guys, if your wife or your spouse is not doing this business with you, just love that, because my freaking wife is crushing it right now. She's out in the field. Building Depth has changed her into the person that she would become. Her best friend had people at a meeting in Denver last night. She did 16 presentations in 4 days in Atlanta, and went to LV Academy and was working with Jennings. And guys, this whole thing that we're doing right here, by drawing people in and using these events to build belief in people and watch them flourish. Because I'm a different person, these things in myself, but just to watch my wife flourish is an answer to my prayers. So I just want to thank all you guys for the encouragement. Like I can remember conversations that Mark Harris and I had, years ago. One time we were on a trip to one of the soccer games at convention. He just said some words and they're the leaders that are teaching us in the field. He said, just keep encouraging your wife. And so I did, and the fruit of it, it blew back in Atlanta, has my team super, super excited. So thank you guys for doing that.
Well, they deserve it out there, and we've been following the numbers, the excitement. We got enough leadership out there. We've had it there, but when they all kind of got together and got things pulled together, and with Jason and you guys, it's been so. And that, guys, that's just as a side training note, that was great. But that's with everyone. I mean, it's fun when it's a spouse because it's so personal and so close. But man, our team's the same way. You love on them. They attend events, and when it finally clicks, that becomes the missing leg that you've been needing, right? The missing volume, the missing leadership, and then you have someone to mentor and utilize all the training towards down through that group. So love it though, and I do love watching her excitement, and when she's on the calls, and I love it when we used to, my wife and I used to obviously not try to remember, sometimes I'd double book and have a movie at the same time as the meeting. And so we try to hit the matinee or we hit a later movie. And I remember stopping by one night doing a call. I'm in a meeting at a house, and I walked in and they said, "Hey, your guys look nice," because we were kind of dressed up for our date night. And they said, "We heard from you all the time. We want to hear from your wife tonight." And I remember she shared that night from a different perspective. I mean, she covered all the principles, but from a stay-at-home mom and husband coming home and the value of what the business did for our family from her point of view. And we were all in tears. It was powerful. And from that day on, I remember being known as Raylene's husband instead of Blue, right? His husband, it was just hilarious. And to the point where the next Elite Academy, my name tag, as far as to get corporate involved to print out my name tag without my name on it, because my name kind of went away a little bit because she did such an awesome job. But once we get them running, especially our spouses, just hold on to their coattails because they're going to drag us along. But awesome. And thank you. We'll look at that for sure, the WhatsApp deal. So any other feedback, guys? Let's move to Saturday a little bit. What, again, what's working? Was there any concerns, things we can fix as a group, or where are we at with the Saturday training? And maybe touch on a little bit, decent feedback, a little bit kind of thrown in and a little bit, taken away. But man, what's up, man? It was kind of fun to just sit back for me to reminisce being in a room and negotiating, even doing this deal with about 8 people, and then watching 10 years from now where we are. So it actually brought up some memories and really edified what we were doing as a team. I think the video was a little jumpy and we got it. Man, what a neat time to announce that at an LVA and to utilize that. I will say that we had the link a little early, so it was fun to go through those questions. Well, Facebook Live, they were pretty active at knowing all the answers and kind of cheating a little bit because they had already been through that with the LVA to the Facebook Live coming out. So that was kind of fun for them. But yeah, what a neat weekend, but a consistent thing. I'm not too worried if something didn't work out real well with that, except the fact that if something pops up in the future, we'll try to do better at making that. Go ahead and let's jump to Saturday, guys. Any feedback? Would love to hear it. Just unmute.
Blue?
Yeah, Everett, go for it, bud.
Yeah. I think one of the things that, personally, even I've gotten kind of lazy on is when you know what area you're going into, maybe what, I got thinking about it to promote even more is the second you know where you're going to go for that next month is you might want to reach out to the and not wait for the host to reach out to you. That's one of the issues we have is we have a tendency, and I know I do, is to wait for the host to contact me. And if we can reach out and start promoting earlier, I think our numbers would go up a lot bigger, and we would increase that quite a bit more. So like right now I'm getting ready to go to San Diego this month. Instead of waiting till 2 days or 3 days before the event and contact each other and try to hurry up and get things, is reach out now. And I don't know what your thoughts are on that and stuff, but I don't really believe we can never promote too soon.
I agree.
And start. Yeah.
I agree, Everett. I agree. And Blue, here's the biggest thing. I think that Everett, that's a home run because they had the same type of thing that Bert had in Denver because it was graduation and stuff. And then he's a grandpa too. The really cool things that out of the park is us doing a video and letting the people know who we are. Because in these areas where people don't know who we are, it's the reason why they brought 2 more rows of chairs in at LVA, because even though we think people know who we are, a lot of people don't know who we are. And if people like it, when I tell people who Everett is, because Everett's never been to Tampa, when I tell them who he is, then they're like, wow, we want to get to know him and who he is. But if Everett does it, then it becomes, to be honest with you guys, it becomes gospel. When they hear Everett saying this is who he is and they see it and they feel it, it goes a long way at those people in Ohio this month. And I know all the groups in Ohio, the Highfields. In my group, the largest legs are in Ohio. I'm already promoting on their websites, on their team Facebook pages, massive live videos. We're doing lives with the host, inviting people. Absolutely agree. You guys aren't doing that. You have to do live videos so people know who you are.
This is what I love about this, guys, is when we first sat down to write a criteria, right? Because we know that there's time commitment, and we were trying to figure out what's the minimum, right? If we're going to put on paper and you're going to sign and agree to this for months and a year at a time to be a trainer, a presenter, a host, right? I mean, and we don't. There's sometimes we got reimbursed for our trip, and sometimes it's close. I don't know where we're at. If we're in our hometown, it might work out. Sometimes when we travel, this one for me, I caught a late flight, extra night in Texas on the way out, and another night in Texas on the way home because it's been like a 4-day, 5-day trip actually. But the value though is we're not going to sit here and ask or tell you this is what's required. This is what the cool part is. We want everyone to do a video and different things. What we want to do is say we need you there Friday to do a training minimum and Saturday for 4 hours, and that's what we need. Now the cool part is this isn't a group of tell me the minimum and I'm going to barely skate by, right? This is like when I show up and I'm going to spend my time. Let's put 200 people in the room instead of 55 or 51 to get my numbers, right? So you guys are thinking right, and I mean, this is we know, and these are best practices we'd like to ask everyone to do. Contact them soon. Send a video. I love doing those videos, you guys. We do them all the time, and then leave them hanging. I'm thinking, here's what we're teaching. I'm going to tell you how to do this, and this. Don't want to miss it. Bam, right? And they're like, I need to know those things. I don't know all those answers. I'm going to go figure that out. So a lot of times our background sparks another 5 people that they didn't realize we were we did the ranching, or they didn't realize we built houses, or they didn't realize we loved riding snowmobiles, right, Everett? I mean, they don't realize those, but once they hear a couple videos with a couple things that relate to us, I mean, it just sparks more interest and more invites. So yeah, sooner the better. A video. Thank you for those that are doing that. We know it's the Facebook Lives. That's above and beyond. Mike, appreciate it. That is awesome. And when they start posting that, it's just going to help. So yeah, there's thank you for that feedback, both of you.
Well, we all become sheep. The other problem is the hosts, all of us, and I've had people say, hey, listen, we've got our own thing going or whatever. You don't need to do none of that stuff or whatever. You might want to encourage, because I've had that times now, hey, we got our own thing going. Don't worry about it. We don't want none of that stuff. And what they don't understand is just exactly what Blue said there is, your story, you don't have to do a full training on a video. Don't do that. Do teasers. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that. My background's this. My background's that. My wife does this. My husband does this. You know, until we relate, and then that'll cause people to call other people. Encourage them to call one more, and then you'll go from, like I said, 55 to 110 to 150 people or whatever. We know every one of those venues have the potential of bringing, 3 figures into the room easy. And when they have 20 or 30 or 40 people there and that's it, then we didn't do our job. And we know there's graduation, there's circumstances out there that cause a few things, but not for everybody. It isn't every single person has that going on. So I think our promotion needs to step up a lot more. It starts from the minute we know where we're going.
Yeah, and I think we're less about it's a secret. I think we were split down the middle, and there's some value of just promoting the event, not the person. And we had fluctuations based on who's coming and who's, I don't know this person and I know this person. We're finding that these videos level that playing field, because whether a pro 9 or 10 that everyone kind of knows the name of is coming, or the brand new 7 that says, guys, I just hit this the last 6 months. Let me show you what I did. I mean, that almost relates with them better in some cases than just a rank that's coming to town. So we're finding that it's less and less about keeping the name quiet, and more about, we still promote the event. I mean, that's the given, event to event to event. Let's keep that as a standard. But, and by the way, here's who's coming, here's their background, here's what's going on. And let's make it less about a secret, more about just letting them know everything about the person coming, and utilizing that as a better intro. So we'll slowly fizzle out the secret idea, because I think that was more voted in 3 years ago to keep it on the event, not the person, and we had a lot of fluctuation. But these ideas now are going to way beyond. They're going to be better than keeping it quiet. So good feedback on that side. I don't want to take too much time, guys. Any last ideas for Saturday? Obviously, if you have something else, throw it out there. But one of the things we always want to talk about is pre-registrations. If there's some best practices there, you can follow their numbers after every event they go to. Their numbers are just amazing. My problem is I follow Dan, so I gotta try to outdo him every time. It's a little bit of a pain, that guy. But it's a fun competition, right? How much was pre-registrations last time? Well, we got 72. Well, we're not leaving until we get 73 today, right? So it's been fun, and following him helps with that. But there's some things that work. We don't want empty seats. I'll say that every time. Just having them buy 10 tickets each isn't the answer, but having them buy 1 or 2 is, and having everyone promoting to that event versus the poor host trying to find the numbers. So that's my quick take is 2 tickets is the key. I will say that what they did in Tennessee was awesome. And the drawing is only for those that bought 2 tickets. That's who gets in the drawing, not everybody who pre-registered. So, and it's a neat push, because now when you get 20 people in the drawing, there's 20 people to have 20 people looking to bring somebody. Hopefully they're enrolling somebody and bringing somebody new, taught and training is to go enroll somebody, or find that person that's excited on your team or needs to be excited, and make that But 2 tickets, I think, is good. I don't think 5 and 10 are. We've had that in the past, and we just end up with a bunch of seats. That's that. We don't need the money for that. We want people in the seats, but maybe around pre-registrations, and we'll finish up.
I have one thought. It's not with pre-registration, Blue, but if we could make sure that we get to Kelly Rich or whoever internal and the offices there that our exact dates. I mean, they know it's the 3rd Saturday, but it would have been really cool, I think, if we could have had like a 5-minute peeking video during LVAs, because we had thousands of people in our LVAs that were missing the live launch of the corporate what they call it, the
Anniversary Mania.
The Anniversary Mania, right? So so if it could have been at like 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and people come home from LVA, they're all excited, they're all jacked up, they get their teams together, and then
I'll just say this real quick, Bert. That was the first phone call made when we got the announcement, and we understand, and it was. It's understood at corporate. It falls through the cracks sometimes. This was one of those that the time could have been a little different. The idea is awesome. The timing was a little. I would love, like you said, a little video, talk about it, promote it, and then to show that later on when everyone. Some people were out. For us, it started as we ended, based on the time zone you're in. But no, we hear you loud and clear. They know our peace of mind on that, and they are willing to work with us. It's just we even had some bigger events that fall on the same day, and things like that. So just know they know the dates, but we need to constantly remind them, and we will work on that between Marcel and I and the leadership here. We'll do our best. Thank you.
So, Blue, this may be maybe a little bit controversial. What are our thoughts for the presenting this a little bit more turnkey and having a preset, updated LVA slide deck? Now, absolutely add our own personality to it, add a couple extra slides here and there, but the logos changed, kits have changed, like all of those things have changed. Would it be helpful, especially with the sense that we're trying to record slides for the virtual LVAs, to be able to have a preset deck that we can use our personalities too?
Yeah, and I'll just add to this, you guys. We've been taking, some people send in things. Hey, can this slide be added? We'd love that as well. If you guys want to send any of that to Mikey, that if you have ideas. We have those sections, right? We teach this in modules, and we know there's entire modules that could be huge, and when done right, it's going to only add to what we're already teaching. It's just clear understanding of what we're teaching now. I even have some stuff around the blueprint and phases and how we teach the blueprint that I think is effective. And so deck, we've been cleaning up the logos as we go. Some of those were cleaned up, and but I've seen some of those out there. So I know some people have them, but we need to make sure, and I agree, on what we want to show mandatory and where the modules can be choices, and where we photos of our family and some things like that. We want it personalized, but we definitely don't want an idea. So you're right. It's just time, and it's just putting in the time. It's time to do it. We just got to get it done. So I might reach out to you for.
Well, if you need help, I nominate Dave Madison. He taught me everything I know.
Everything. But he taught you, right?
Yeah.
You're just jealous.
Oh, hi, Dave. I didn't know you were on the call. No, when it comes to technology, we all look to Dan, and we all blame Dave for teaching him so much. So.
That's right.
Hey, Dan, I think that's a great comment, but let me just say one thing that I think has been a massive influence out. I'm an emotional guy, but when the last couple of times out, and even like I see Stacy on her, she's emotional, moving people, and I have 2 sections in there that I teach on personal development that I got from events that I've been to through LifeVantage over the years, like, the Go for No stuff and stuff that is actually moving the needle in people making a decision to go out. We can teach them all the principles and guidelines and stuff, but education without action is just us going to school and putting in our seats. It's just like the education system, why one of the youngest guys that I've learned from recently is Caleb Maddox, who's 17 years old, who is teaching kids how to be structured and taking, action on things. And then this last weekend, like, people telling us that those pieces that we taught changed their lives. Becky and Lee Seward's nephew said he left LifeVantage Academy a different person than when he walked in. And for me, something that we do, make a piece of it, like Dan said, maybe there's some structure, but we teach the principles of all the pillars. But then we have, and I don't know about you guys when you get done, but I got done at 12:53 almost every single time. It's like 12:53 is my number, right? Like I'm looking down, I'm like, I got to get to 12:53. And so I get to there, and then they're doing their closing things, and then we're out of there. So I agree, but I think we still should have some personal development pieces in there that that are our own, like Dan said, that we're just moving people to take action.
Let me do this too, guys. As personal development is one of those modules that's probably not in there very well. Pillar, and we have one slide with about 10, 15 books on it, right? And we know there's some people love reading, and that slide works, and others that's just, for me, that's not how I grew a lot, was just sitting back and reading. So do me a favor. What I want to do is with what you have maybe on those modules, because we want to standardize a deck, and we want to keep people in those guidelines, just because we want to make sure we know what's being taught at all the things. So we know the modules. I don't have 50 modules and you're teaching 4. I just want to know what the 50 are, and make sure that we all understand and are okay with those 50 modules. So I think few of you have, especially because some of you just kind of started teaching recently, and our stuff is outdated. So people have just been making it happen, right? We're influencers. What did Darren say about influencers? If we don't have it, we just create it, right? We don't hate. In the LVA program, I would love that to be true to effect of, let us know, let us help you create it so that everyone has it and can use it, and it's standardized, and then we can still choose. What I do is Friday night ask enough questions so that Saturday I can choose what modules are needed. And then sometimes I'll go in with 4 modules that I think are important, and I'll only teach 2 of them, and I'll bring 2 new ones in personal growth, and they didn't have it, or they needed something else, or they needed a whole different focus than what I thought or that I wanted to teach. So super powerful. We have, and with Dan and you guys, the ability to put that into a visual with. So, but any information you want in the program, send it to Mikey so that we can at least have some kind of standard, look at it and make sure it fits, and there's nothing that's going to be to everyone, just so we can say we all approved it. But that's awesome, and I agree with the feedback, and it's neat. I saw the old Running Man in a couple things. I'm like, man, we need to get that guy out of there. Thank you for bringing that up.
Hey, Blue.
Any last minute thoughts, guys?
Hey, Blue.
Yeah.
This
Bob?
is Bob and Muffy.
Hi, guys.
Just wanted to say thank in us to not only host the event in Nebraska, but more importantly, the whole process of how you guys, you and Mikey, Marcel, helped us make the move from Grand Island to North Platte, because we really appreciated you guys' support. We had a really great run. We appreciate everything you guys did for us. It was amazing working with Mikey, and we're really excited to just turn this over now to Cinda and Mike. They're going to do a fabulous job, and they'll bring some fresh, great ideas to the world. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
I'm
guys.
glad you jumped on. I didn't see you earlier when I was giving you some attaboys, and I just I'm glad you're here. We'll close on that, because I'll just tell you guys, thank you for your hard work behind the scenes, all the hours and time, the planning, the calls. I mean, we do understand what it takes. And, part of us we apologize when it takes so much, and the other part we don't apologize. We're like, yeah, that sacrifice is what it takes, right? For a city, for a company, for a program, and more importantly, individually for us and our businesses. So, but thank you for your time, all of you. And that transition, I love the way this works. The transitions are becoming smooth. We teach together a few times, so they get all the little pieces, and then yeah, we appreciate your time. But thank you for bringing that up, you guys. You guys, thank you, Mikey, for setting this up. Mikey, do you have, before close, I want to turn on any other time to you if there's any updates that I don't know about or things on your end that would help on, you know, the logistics of the hotels and things. Is there anything on your side that we need to discuss before we jump off the call?
Yes, I would like to remind all the hosts to post the leadership training and dinner, you know, that you guys have on Friday night prior to the event on Big Blue calendar if you can. And then when you're posting that, like Luke mentioned earlier, to please mention the rank qualification to attend, you know, those meetings. And then as far as the venues, just make sure that you guys are calling the venues, you know, a couple of days before each event, just to make sure that everything is in place. Because this past month we had a situation where we got to the venue, like, you know, the host and all the people that were attending LVA, and the venue was not set up. And we had the contract, we had everything, you know, set in stone, but for some reason the venue that we had, they dropped the ball. So it's very important that, you know, you guys are, as a host, would just do the follow-up and call the hotel 1 or 2 days before the event to make sure everything is in place. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you. And then, Mikey, thank you for your extra time on the online. We know that's extra time early in the morning for you. I know that with the time change, I think you're doing a great job at helping all of us, and the midnight to 3 in the morning stuff that fits our time frame. But thank you for your help as well. And that's from all of us. We appreciate, and you know, getting back with everybody, getting those things planned and prepared. And you guys, this is one of those things. The last idea is just lift where you stand, right? We all have a piece. If we're hosting, let's be the best host we can. Make people feel welcome. If we're presenting, let's bring our A game. Let's bring everything we got, put it on the table. You can see all the comments on the side. I mean, you know, literally life-changing things going on. People that have never heard stuff like that. That is amazing. And we have more and more quality coming in to train. We have better and better, you know, support with technology and how we're doing some of these things. And we're putting out a better product. Our PowerPoint needs to reflect that, and that's going to be something that's on us. But absolutely, keep working with what you got, you guys. Bring your heart. That's what they're after anyways. The PowerPoint's just something to fill in some visual stuff. They leave with what you give them. They leave with how you got to that point, what you did, and they'll find an average. They'll find their own way, and they'll become the next presenter here months to years to come, and that's what we want. So thank all of you. Mikey, thanks for setting this up. Watch for this call, you guys. Put it in the calendar now if you would. And if you have a chance, any other presenters, any other hosts, you guys, I would love to get, you know, 30, 40 people on this call, get everyone so that it's more effective and we don't have to, we get better feedback and everything else. So help us promote that as well for this feedback call. But thank you all from me, from Marcel, from Mikey. Thank you guys. And we'll catch you on the next time around and continue to promote. And for presenters, you guys, get those contacts made early. Hosts can reach out early as well. Presenters can reach out early. Just start the contact soon so we can get those things out there ahead of time. So thank you guys, and appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.
Guys, love you.